to stop it in 2 seconds.
Advantage one is inequality, domestic poverty, surging, cementing, structural economic insecurity, influence, social polarization, inequality, the private society collapses. 7.23. The U.S. economically polarized since the 70s, inequality deep in GDP prices, exceeding large deficits, where households remain lower than top level in the 50 years, which allowed driven by inequality distributed rather than slow down to the low level of middle income, peak poverty, leaving around 12% COVID intensified inequality, recession, leading to massive losses, deterioration, money gap, business, social rise, growing conflicts, homelessness, privatization, privatization, the wealth gap, as we have recurring malaise, automation, drives inequality, polarization. That's number 22. Tech produces nominal inequality, populations, alien by changing linear with population, skyrocketing property, for new populations making donations, they have replaced half of labor between 2030, ensuring workers transition over requires to reskill and reskill animal health service social relations, is that the cultural wars, agreements, policy, state challenges, conspiracy, service of violence, and brings a new list of populace inequality causing extinction. That's 23. Inequality experts in developed countries, climate conflict, polarization, reduced road, western disaster, preparedness, health, food, religion, late capture, less positive trajectories, interest, misaligned, based, well-coordinated policy, and less likely to reduce social lapse, and try support for Republicans, reduce capacity, so responding to gravel, race, charge, nuclear warfare, state act, accidentally sovereign, biopolitical, global isolation, unfair state, act, free polarization, free conflict, drive, civil rights, not equal for mostly defeat populists, prefer riskier policy, absent, cost centralization, mass data collection, green lines, unchecked disinformation, campaigns to ruin democracy, slide 22. Data collection for massive info for chaotic garbage, spread for data intimidation, augmented entity, provide users with confirmation biases, misleading, culminating intention using social media marketing, targeting technology, target project automation, exacerbation, data collection, for manufacturing, holding message, DOS, cyber on hold, democracy, prevents extinction, miscalculation, field cooperation, and wars of aggression. That's Belfry 23. Totalitarian smoke, war, bread, and having progress, democracy, rarely experience families, rich, untouchable, totalitarian states like that, major wars, miscalculation, rising, chance, and WOD, lack of to major green, back from pandemic, climate change, AI, total talent, will leverage, locking, HSC based element, democracy, offer demonstration, a better life is more favorable to social democracy, and encourage apparatus, total work, risk, extinction, data, pollution, fuel, societal instability, and heightened social divides. That's movement 22. Data pollution, fuel, war, massive data, vulnerability to abuse, use, automated persuasion, makes bad threats, privacy, and manipulation. We have to worry about driven data, experience, the shift to winners, features, by private parties, commercial practices, core topics, makes it difficult to bring tech companies and data tech solves and independently stops taxation from compounding environmental and governance failures. Mobview 22. Digitalization, government enable website resources, discussion by feedback, inequality, social loss, social trade, democracy, data companies, exploitation, resource inequality, climate surveillance, data developing for big tech tax and data redistribution, and to reduce data neutrality, state uniform access, data complex, for redistribution, reduce poverty, super climate, irrigation, infrastructure, increasing for access, data fosters, companies total data requires accountability, infrastructure, common good reselling towards the positive outcome, mobilize the equitable policy, language that's used applying it as common rather than good, basic income, ensures sufficient funding for basic needs, reversing poverty and inequality. That's con 23. Yeah, poverty worldwide provides every citizen safety net, insurance, food, housing, care, UBI addresses underlying cause of poverty, preferring stable income situation, UBI can reduce poverty, redistribution, project, the 70s super productive, and poverty, basic economy, people invest in contributing the earth, 75 UBI with GDP by 2.5 trillion, welfare benefits, people run electric access programs, UBI, dissolve stigma, UBI, and poverty, producing and reducing inequality, but linkage with digital taxation is necessary to overcome automation that's green 17. Robust secure job, UBI will directly address employment, poverty, automation, fair experience, payback, given audience, temporary, make sure data about companies, property, given by smart liability, solution with tax on AI companies, UBI, by definition of our data, best option, levy, revenue, fund program, $1 trillion, subsidized employment, advantage two is multilateralism, conditions exist for global data tax framework, but crystallization, crystalline U.S. endorsement, necessary to build consensus as under one. Negotiations of multilateral tax consensus, digital economy, spelling, taxing, UIC, interlocking guidelines on taxing digital business, state trouble, discrimination rises, unclear what MNEs are accompanying taxing US MNEs are making beneficiaries should be managed or resistance. The contrary to US rulemaking, intention of UE, USE, relations, national security, quality, question, consensus, digital taxes may be toned down, whether economic quality, funding sector, and remove the USP, BF, transporting consensus requires equal access, spectrum, make security, hinder the global system, basic income allows consensibility through follow on as merchant 15. Gradual basic income spurgling worldwide as class so close to the UBI program, all governments of the world will copy magnified the world so there's time for travel, large basic income scholars, and traveling for as class so there's nowhere near enough given nations are currently debating basic income extension over the low national implications, soft spiraling protectionism. That's failing 23. The U.S. is winning consensus on a Saturday draft. The U.S. model in the UN never gets more. Do not include fees, revenue, service sales. The U.S. might show up differently drawn opposite EU governments like no, the Office of Trade Consumer DC justified churches regarding the international tax, the honor and resulting adoption tax and embrace from U.S. world to opposition. Less liability of rational DSCs enter the U.S. are justified violence to retaliate trade policies. U.S. tango taxation. U.S. are putting DSC interest in multilateral taxes in the U.S. is way to service supports and multilateral the principal sectors of rich policy destroying the DSC legislation. The U.S. never model DSC legislation, proving DSC is the only choice left. Protectionism. The entry goes to World War III. That's Oppenheimer 21. Environmental health facts and health tech failures will define the future by decoupling with various increasing polarization, conflict, weakness, teaching doors, and reduced capacity for warming, tech, nuclear weapons, and rural, escalating trade disputes, black, political, lesbian, damaging fuels, national interest, conflict, trade wars, led to World War III, academic trade, unimaginable world, trade wars, into reducing independence, make that convincing movies, carries, and pre-19 for their main hotspots area, SCS, one working leads to drive rebuilding, U.S. economic leadership through consensus caps, whose effects of transitional risk extinction, and civil service, 23. Fragmented world tech, financial crisis, pandemic, solar energy, climate, Russia, advanced consensus, labor, environmental governance, health, and global economic order challenges, global security, competition, economic integration, migration, responsible China expanding military ambitions, ignoring dependency, build up upon energy, uncertainty, semiconductors, particularly leverage, failing short of climate ambitions, economic bridge, flow capacity, reducing public goods, withstand disaster, geopolitical, challenge, all part of foreign policy, transnational data, disputes, cause, extinction, consensus is key, that's 20. Renewal assets provide competition authority as contractors collaboration, nothing can do other information adversaries pursuing their strategy, China Russia define their strongly U.S. efforts have been contradicted to exploit their information in America in no position in America to flush and spin as able court authority as several to govern the resolution for Europe from the U.S. period of separation body will be invasion existential. Canada will implement DST now. Stalwart opposition will devastate Canadian growth as well. 23. Canada intended to preserve the DST next year for both trade sanctions. Mostly Quebec, more German DST, U.S. and Canada refuse to expose sanctions and tariffs on imported trade in aluminum, lumber, durable energy, Canadian growth and underlying the U.S. Stagnant growth causes Quebec's secession. World War III. That's Matthew 14. Canada World War III believes Saudi Arabia, Quebec, CC, China, Russia will colonize to spark civil war. And no reasons provided to hinder China as a flood of movements. Article last split. U.S. will be committed in Russia, China, Iran, use to press spontaneous dissolution of both movements. Quebec, Korea, Russia, as a regional China, U.S. launches World III. Advantage 3 is invasion is slow now. That's part 23. Innovative activities slowly studies dominant to contemporary conjectures farming other patents and grace middle less please post security across field tests less property reiteration 91 to 100% of basic income unlocks open innovation. That's part 19. Government should transfer to open innovation later trade indicates that by scaling motivate innovation limits raise unemployment and equality common international resources social assets stable use standard conquer inequality jobs are basing on movement and cycle of innovation because of buffer by which people greater interpretation and additional capital meal surplus innovation will increase focus and people pursue more socially valuable opportunities increase power of all classes will increase open market area increase the economy's goals quality social value freedom increases demand inefficiency between tech and markets unequal opportunities stonewall invasion. That's Robinson 1. Most innovation are about access to capital is essential invest acquiring services, fairness, structure, market access problem for investor, innovators, capital, concentrate projects, health, rest, states for startup. There are very few for innovators, capital risk, or hurdle absolutely converting data monopolies, open innovation is more possible. That's Johnson 23. Textile subsidies largely shaping don't future when enforced the hands of a few political companies or something. Job each other absolutely controlling post safeguards, harm, job privacy, armor, different restaurants, do not have control information, central power, generate AI, requires deeper possible for the capitalization, generally to prevent data monopolies and molars, effective counterfeiting power. But if big guy wants to use data, we want to raise productive workers, open innovation, safeguards humanity from emerging tech. That's Cal 18. All problems of health with human weapons, biotech, native tech, generic rubber, human compilation, missile invasion, improved dressing, check, keepers, problem, industries, population, and management, 3D printed, naval, secret, any party print, well, under low weapons, least control, expensive, differential, city, with gridlock, openness, and optimal, managed check, collective intel, leverage, keeping pace with threats, saving grace. Thus, the plan, the United States federal government should provide a job productive basic giving of finance by data tech that increases fiscal redistribution in the United States. Solvency. The plan solves and is revenue positive, overweight statistical empirical literature assets real, which should do. Growing money versus shows income more safe, privilege of sustainability, geopolitical ability, and every possible amount of emissions and quality lowers to combination human conversation will cost billions of studies shows a huge increase revenues, well savings, assisted nature, personally find employment, study found patient would generate 10 times as much revenues to cost. All objections to basing on being comprehensively refuted by empirical studies. That's February 20. Objection being answered empirical have been refuting practice observation sample surveys and numerous studies generated recent data including UBI results, US results are existential cost doesn't refute contrary original or serve without FDF. This suggests BI boosts economics through multiplier effects. Every study found 69% and UBI will provide savings offset in every case UBI works better than all welfare. Only durable clear depreciations effectuate basic income. That's line 23. Collectors of banks were seizing payment stimulus providing role of UBI is critical to establish a clear and strong driver protection of property, judgment, judgors. Payments were vulnerable creditors seeking a failure to project UBI was seeking to harm you deprive millions of benefits, low income people like you with debt protection, necessary effectuate UBI, allowing credit started with disadvantage, harm rate, quality prediction can hold the effects of other predictions, individual might just be all automation as a guarantee prolonged stroke growth. That's 20. We found ourselves just starting a rate of depression, think of abundance at high 23 or 5%. There's one title, it's a UBI companies the first in series of shocks, climate change, disasters, internet.
Okay, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, sweet. The Schmidt evidence says that inequality is an existential risk because of elite capture, or the idea that elites have outsized influence in the government. How much do you pay people such that elites no longer have outsized influence in the government?
Well, so it's $1. The data tax works as $1 for every 200 megabytes of data. That is sufficient for a basic income of $20K a year.
Okay, so $20K a year means that Jeff Bezos no longer has outsized influence.
That's not the internal link. So
to be clear, the Schmidt evidence literally says that it erodes institutional capacity because of quote.
Yeah, so capture. It erodes institutional capacity because of polarization. Right now, people who literally have no money are starving. They're upset because they have no money. They see people with money, but providing them a basic income of $20K a year at least makes them look like and not contributes to as much polarization, which is why there's a loss of social trust.
Do you think you solve elite capture? Because you've highlighted in Schmidt it's an X risk because of elite capture.
Do we think we solve elite capture? I mean, that's what I just explained, like to you.
Not really. Okay. The Quebec secession, what internal link card do you think you've read that says that sanctions would permanently stunt Canadian growth?
Yeah, we've read a couple. So the Finley evidence talks about how protectionism and tariffs causes tit-for-tat escalation, and that is the reason why it collapsed. That's the internal link to the Oppenheimer evidence, but it's also the internal link to the Vanderwolf evidence that Canada is going to implement the DST now, but U.S. opposition means that they will put in tariffs because Canada will see the U.S. as not doing it absent the plan.
Wait, you think any tariffs will cause never-ending tit-for-tat tariff escalation? Why haven't?
No, the Vanderwolf evidence is specific to a data tax. It says that Canada is going to get upset with the U.S. if they don't implement the data tax, which is the reason that they would put tariffs onto the United States. The United States, in response, in reaction, would put tariffs back on.
Yeah. My question is, what piece of evidence do you think you've read that says those tariffs would cause a permanent stunting of Canadian growth? Because it seems like you've read a link, no internal link, and then an impact.
I disagree with you. The Matthews evidence talks about how Canada would with these tariffs, it would cause like Quebec secession, but
You think you've read a card that says tariffs cause Quebec secession?
Well, the internal link is about Canada's economy collapsing. Obviously, the U.S. and Canada are huge trading partners.
Yeah, there's one line in
depends on
general.
trade with
There's
the
one
US.
line that
if
says
you read
Canada
evidence
likes
about
the
other
economy.
things that could destroy Canadian growth, we can read evidence
Yeah,
that says trade is key.
I disagree.
sure.
Also, the Vanderbilt evidence, literally the first line says Canada intention to proceed with a digital service tax that to provoke trade sanctions, most accurately in Quebec, which talks about secession.
Okay, sure.
Go for it.
COVID, question mark, why didn't it cause this?
COVID, what is the question?
Stagnant growth, Canada.
Stagnant growth, Canada? No, the internal link is totally different. All of our evidence is specific to a DST.
Matthews says stagnant growth causes Quebec secession. It's from 2014. It seems like COVID caused stagnant growth. Why no secession?
Again, you're like totally missing the internal link. The internal link is about the digital service tax. So sure, COVID might have existed, but the internal link to the service tax is way larger than COVID ever was.
We have 10.
Forces outside.
I'll take that.
Why did you
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Alright. 9:36. Okay, it's
Okay, it's 6 off, inequality advantage, innovation advantage, multiple advantage.
36 down. Okay, we're good.
I haven't gotten it yet.
I lied, so I can't count. Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry, let me, I have to see the email. Why I didn't see it the first time. Ready?
Okay. Everyone else is good. First off, T tax interpretation, fiscal distribution, reverse the change in distribution of income through progressive income taxes and transfer back. No, redistribution versus policy influence distributing and fiscal policy. The direct means of redistribution fiscal policy to support tax transfer income at higher rate than the board and financial transfer dividends. The board more redistributing function insurance against old age or adverse events violation. The way tax is not redistributed by the regulatory nature of the 21. Tax law includes both raising revenue provision directly behavior in order to distinguish tax and pure tax and environmental raise revenue to finance policy income tax, the tax rate incentive redistribution or rich support. This should be distinguished regulatory tax and neighbors change taxpayer regulatory tax include good being cargo tax, reset externality, actual tax more. Dual percent tax includes behavior to produce some revenue rather than more primarily regulatory e.g. be good be vote neg one limits are terms of topic include revenue from any source of taxation or data financial transaction limiting inactivity can be taxed to which could be so topic choose ground including non-income tax erratically inflate outground creating advantage based on discouraging the object of the tax is disconnected with core rejection redistribution which focus on income exclusive death care. Invocation death impacts negative for an essential body count that ends in exceeded by negative reject death impacts is gateway issue from 64. There are people that are different life and they love death, that it can be fascinating, all that is that people love to talk about death, that it is slice and love, Hitler's all love, and negative related discriminating uncertainty in order to make life control must be changed over to the only thing in a certain free person. Things that place of all things into ways of meditation of a life and that aim to be distracted by all that is life on people is often increasing bureaucratic that people or ministers over there are things who mechanic is more fascinating device that can kill millions of the minutes like a vertical to show how hard we gone valley death and awareness part. Pathological situation is the first step people come where they should produce new relations even if they went death impacts are good. Here's more arguments. Hate spec the plan text specified by the federal branch that carries out the plan. They did not. That's key to Asian combat stability. Trade under politics that reject the states. The 50 states parliamentary territory should establish and implement an innocent agreement to abolish balanced budget requirements, create reserve banks, and provide a basic income finance by data tax to establish debt protection for the basic income and to reimburse any dividends which are seized by debt collectors or banks, interest increment, solve economic inequality, avoid federal sabotage, troops, yeah, Michael, what do you? Innocent agreements are responsible states here, combination of markets, labor, and state government, creative infrastructure, to sabotage, possible expert, democratic, political, economic, world, the federal level, and study from partisan, research, state body, state blessing, courts, agency, Congress, update against their sabotage, severe administration, served, federal balance, improve economic condition, economic justice, would make it race, a lot of cross-border efficient, and controls economic skills, we're avoiding the risk of economic downturn, make solve, and boosting the economy, and avoiding budget trade-offs all the time. APTC solution state law states right a deficit reverse funding countercyclical so much revenue using the fraction reserve willing to generate much more money and then it keeps more money when these times over its actual reserve the state is the deficit the state can use the limit cheaper the bonds the same with politics. Ukrainian passage to start by the unity is key Volker 116. Republicans and Democrats both out supported nobody wants to vote against pressure. He says since Congress agreed on spending lawmakers city focus on the border will locks up almost spending some issue remaining resolved within the next week or so but his eyes taking the vote will compromise will leave. Other Union Congress presidents on Saturday both support action over an action in front of the Senate will be still be hiring until the both favors majority support not liking AD could be eyes opportunity cause united pressure capital was fairly 50. The idea that support BI's can use building we would say in a coalition fund of one thing is best favor of pride different actively against party members bullet. Popular cost of action maybe less scarce reason voter comic support achieve identity more so that first in case of BI means pressure voter capital to feel nothing of other potentially option comments may drew out to be sustainable for support may be counterproductive from what I may prevent us from nursing entrepreneurial protect my finding the correct favor strong social value 8 now Prince World War 3 decades and 3. If Washington came to massive new ways for refugees and flooding the EU and Moldova and Putin targets, it would be all known about Armenia and Sicily, little short Moldova forward or Southern Copenhagen to discredit different touch solid out of the Baltic State defense market on robbing the shower less funding. Europe against it is destroying competition between the Russian data and the current authoritarians encouraged in splitting around birth that gives it to Counterplan economy trends of World War 3 like the heroic of Western weakness and equality advantage. First turn, NYC Green says UAS solves public fears of AI-driven employment should be a wide-scale backlash against AI. We'll concede that status quo AI-driven employment will spark a coordinated global backlash against AI that shuts down AGI races more effective than even the most draconian global regulation. Miller 23. If enough people lose their jobs, AI teaches public backlash like the global state coordinated movement will morally signalize AI breach of companies funding. If that happens, AGI is much like an ecosystem that could shoot more power selling AI than even a draconian global rex like an AGI depends on how difficult and how many resources how funding can be able to except for system AGI like the no that the first side is resources maybe more vulnerable average from most where AI than AI have seen this more backlash to a check out resources AI backlash sustainable global or sustained or well organized and social cultural political economic levels so lot AGI all and rise in next 20 years of making average becomes a stigmatized white national AI breach would be abandoned because the cultural power triggers connect relating cultural fears that are going to occur in issues that trigger one unemployment and finding new jobs. AI will learn about AI job loss start hitting white collar before these blue these include millions of dollars in kind of journal stages that people are politically and trying to do moral signal and unemployment habit and how time organizing AI backlash and put unemployment like the remit backlash off 5 years and now AGI alignment of that human values cause infinite quantifiable human and non-human suffering and vastly outweighs extinction. The only solution is to prevent AGI in the first place. Hours 22. Unlike AGI will against humanists to do these facts mean that we should attempt AI alignment and we should not adopt sense of unaligned AI to do not even compare the risk from alignment to the wrong hands, matchment right hands are wrong. What can be worse than extinction? And numerous events that are common threat is AI aligned to do something to human origin aligned AI. What could be because you can abuse from aligned AI may take interest in your well-being or lack thereof. This can be something in the worst world. Today, not automatically horrible and anything you think that's happening is done by people. It's going to lie burden. Ways from agonizing hundreds of the public, you know, life. You think about numbers like orders of magnitude worth all. And a world of signal is more than one AGI created with a limited capacity or something only. So many body can mind can take before they get about none of these are true in the world. And with the mind uploading, trying even torture, you can think about every new digital being inside the stories with this purpose. You think, yeah, when human lives would feel like a most fundamental one, human lives that the hatred or the has there in any second bit of history, not just like misuse or controls the will have it. Somebody who's suffering, you know, kind of that tries always to match for people, you know, picture, but it will love value, lock them on the number, the children are burned. I don't know how many more people who become the worst kind of as that is under slightest excuse of what I can trust with AI about nature, value system, the S scenarios, I guarantee people can ask for. Probably scenarios, the nightmare scenarios, that's for truly unavoidable except by preventing AGI from ever being created. Anti-AI backlash also solves the case better than the plan. Every impact advantage one is based on AI-driven data collection, which will ban obviously solves 100% only backlash to all taxing data locks and harmful data collection practice firms will have we pay the tax and continue business as usual or rescue 21. Tech industry trying to ensure that pays a new tax on data and one offer solution tax and data collection given the fiscal return not require every piece of data is off kill Google waste all something my data and pays 10% tax and still is 90% 90% better off than it had not collected data. Every tax data were validating attractive piece of practice such a lucrative business they become more happy to pay tax even going to their first card is from China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's straight propaganda. 3 Schmidt is BS. A basic and will not raise people influence on the government foreign and inequality impact area 50. Effects of inequality, so not supporting countries higher item and division to relation law, border line, significant interaction effects of inequality were far from the needs of real level of whether climate division, correlated country division, economic inequality, nor diversity affecting the relation, no democracy impact, going 2019. Book relies on hundreds of studies supporting peace, weak, no correlation to inequality, evidence among evidence includes 8,000 artists, even topics severity and different seem different evidence that democracy more people's and ability to factors to include democracies that raise them as peace exists. When both have fine development and some of course democracies are more likely to find each other war is massive colonial alliance. Democracy, no studies, democracy, all causes A internationally and repression. In Turkey, Russia, and Hungary to be domestically, Germany, domestic surveillance and police brutality, innovation advantage. First, the Calvin evidence is zero coherent warrants for extinction, toss it out to no innovation by code 20. Health and environment are sharing new innovation, including landfill waste, undermining landmines out rather than cherry picking and supporting conceive. A preconceived innovation always go nurse innovation direction that have good about effects, and those are unequally disparate destroys our complex in the selection that we saw about innovation not for a greater quality than complete innovation direction and take for granted the and more about understanding the outside of foreign policy multi-line advantage. First, no protectionism by INCWD. 1913, when it's never connected, you later will win independence and submission for the common things in terms of the common industry. This is biological, however, at the many example trade, carrying on trade, can increase common trade is more important one than the other trade, or make export is also as useful to differentiate states and provision to how we regress and non-economic facts to reform of the local theory, site independence of medical career, relative military Japanese trade is simply one of many variables. 2, China trade war stumps their impact. 3, no internal link to the Canada. Vanderbilt evidence says that they rely on the economy, not that some sanctions will permanently stun growth. 4, no COVID thumbs to Canada, slow growth. 5, the Quebec secession impact is wild ass speculation, even their author agrees that's inserted no coherent impact of the felt evidence global all cause like China and bring climate solvency says info is existential exclusively for small frontline states. That's an inserted reality. I have to miss it. Okay. I'm good.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Reasons to reject a team other than C.
The whole one is C.
Yeah.
Okay. Status of everything.
Conditional.
Net benefits to all the counterplans.
States is politics. Yeah.
Okay. The juries.
Juries
Just,
internal.
yeah. The citizen juries fiat that the U.S. says yes.
Well, who's the U.S.? Like the
The
government? The
does it
federal
fiat
government?
that the United States says yes to the plan?
No, we think they would buy the decision of the jury.
Okay, cool.
'Cause it
Let's go
reflects
to
the populace. Yeah.
interstate agreements counterplan. Where have you read a piece of evidence that says the 50 states are able to establish a framework with Europe and create the same multilateral framework of taxes?
I mean, as of the 1 and C, the Michael's evidence does not make a claim that states have that capacity. We don't think any of the 1 and C says states are precluded from doing international coordination over like data taxes. Like all your evidence is like the U.S. needs to demonstrate capacity to like tax data willingness to. If all 50 states enter into a compact together that all 50 governors are willing to, that
Okay.
would send a much stronger signal to the plan.
Income taxes, the BASPE evidence says that redistributive fiscal policy takes the form of taxing the rich, their income or wealth at a higher rate than the poor. We do tax like the biggest tech companies, Amazon, Google,
Sure,
AlphaZero,
you tax them, but
Microsoft.
you're not taxing them their income or wealth.
That's not what the card says. The card says that it's taxing their income or wealth
Yeah.
at a higher rate.
To
The
be
wealth
clear.
that they develop is through the companies.
Yeah, wealth taxes and income taxes are very specific terms of art that designate specific taxes. Any tax is not a wealth tax. A wealth tax is a tax on things like stocks, bonds, invested assets.
Yeah, but
and
your
an
card
income
doesn't
tax.
say, I'm not asking you about a wealth tax, I'm asking you about, it says that wealth at a higher rate than the poor.
Yeah.
It just specifies it could be wealth at a higher rate
Yeah,
than
the
poor.
plan doesn't tax wealth or income. It taxes data, which does not meet our inter.
Okay, the second card below that, it talks about changing taxpayer behavior. I guess, how do we change taxpayer behavior? We're just
Yeah.
changing the profits of the company.
Mhm.
Why is that a change to
The claim of a
taxpayer?
data tax is that it will deter like overaccumulation of data. Like that's the entire thesis of Advantage 1. The Aviona evidence says that that distinguishes the plan's regulatory tax from redistributive taxes like income taxes.
Sure. Did you read everything on case?
No.
What parts did you not read?
What
A
parts is
few
it?
of them. The Hughes evidence, the Blaine evidence. I think that's it.
Okay, the death K, the from evidence says that there are people that are indifferent to life. You have also read death impacts in this debate. Why is that a reason?
It's an even if claim. I made that right below. It says even if they win, their death impacts are good. We have other arguments.
Yeah, now you know.
So, quite a bit.
Sure. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
723.
I'm sending it to you.
So paying for the cost of turn.
Yeah. Two six seven. Yeah. Okay. Everyone good for an order?
Yeah.
Advantage 1, inequality.
Yeah.
Advantage 2, multilat. Advantage 3, innovation. A-spec. Team. Death K. Citizen juries counterplan. Interstate compacts counterplan. Ukraine dissent. Coercion dissent. Everyone good? Status quo 2 and impossible. Drop data monopolization erodes overall governance, collapsing the environment, and misinformation and societal breakdown, guaranteeing extinction. That's SMO. 1 and T1, no AI. Turn 1, non-unique people for your automation now. 2, all costs to other countries. We'll develop AI. 3, assholes prevent big tech from developing AI. 4, turn AI developed through open innovation is good and stops extinction. That's Callahan, but no impact. Remember, with a grain of salt to show both universal, both strong, and only anecdotal examples of exponential growth and weak convincing. Nothing else compare exponential. There are flaws in circle. Never, almost no AI exponentially reduces the third circuit until AI surpasses many areas. We tell us let alone in general sense of the most powerful can solve math of the same concept of AI, less mind sense of reasoning. Antibody source from being as anything complex in general. Zaretsky evidence is wrong. It does not assume the magnitude of our tax, $200 per megabyte. It's a massive tax. There's no impact to it. It does not quote validate extractive practices. 1 and T2 and MFA is not propaganda. It's citing publicly available statistics. 1 T3. Schmidt is not wrong. It lifts people out of that plan lifts people out of poverty, which is the con evidence. We also cite diversion, which is the terminal impact because people don't get pissed and riot against the government because they have sufficient funding to live. 1 and T4, yes, inequality impact causes extinction. They drop the administration forces diversion regulation and undermines transnational crisis response. That's Schmidt. 1 and T5, no democracy defense. Authoritarian takeover causes wars of aggression, miscalc, and extinction for black swans. That's Belfield group all causes none say the collapse of democracy. They drop the US gets modeled, and data is the key internal link as per the lie evidence. Innovation. 1 and T, 1 and 2 group them. Yes, innovation impact. It was Callahan was warranted. Sorry, I'm going here. First, open innovation unlocks conjunctive development of synthetic biotechnology, geoengineering, AI, and nanotech, avoiding all existential threats. The code evidence is about elites controlling innovation. The app solves it through a data tax. Multi. 1 and T1, yes, protectionism that hollows out the world order, extinction from global conflict, tech disruption, warming, and disease. That's Oppenheimer. 1 and T2, the China wars do not thump. This was a three-word assertion. We get new arguments in the 1 year, but the US and EU trade war that would come of a data tax dispute is much larger. Group 1 and T3 and 5, yes, internal link to the Canada. Yes, internal link to the Canada stuff. To trade is key. GAC 22, Canada depends on trade for state defense, living sector, export. 63% of the entire economy depends on trade. The US is key. Cost 16. The US dominated international trade bills. 3 parts of export through to the US trade Canada remains heavily underdependent on the US as a key trading partner. They've dropped the accession cause extinction. They'll align with Russia and China. The US will be drawn in sparking great power war. As for the Matthews evidence and economic leadership, built to multilateral resilience and underpin soft power. Otherwise, supply shocks, disasters, pandemics, and global war cause extinction. As for Sullivan, the Feldstein rehighlight, it doesn't matter. I'm not going for it. The rehighlighting of the rehighlighting of Matthews does not assume economic collapse, which forces Quebec to secede, which means it's not unlikely. We meet specified USOG, they can win that modifies the agent. Counterterm specifies as far as the rest. For 1, arbitrariness is unpredictable and causes substantive crowd out that kills class. 2, infinite regression. There's no right line for specification. 3, after all, agent counterplots are unfair and limit topic innovation. No abuse, cross-exit, normally extract usability. The race to the bottom. T. We meet 1, textually, plain text says redistribution, anything else breaks debate. 2, functioning Mary 22, any concepts for economic social stability, limit of market, source corporate entities, generally power from data security, production, new money, counter fiscal redistribution shot by the economy, that's of COVID 21, regardless, by implies that providing a BI is redistribution, interest 18 by plus no verb discussing the first sheet of the result, remarks by segment of the results, method is by cycling, prefer 1, predictability, they define redistribution, not fiscal redistribution, here, topic consensus and skills, 2, after on income tax, loan limits, advantages, makes this either overpowered and counterbalance become unbeatable, 3, mixes burdens, certain terms, functionally as plus decrease inequality, this is solvency, not T. Question 4, education, the economy is digital, not material, only data caliber and relevant policy discussion, that's Marion, no offense, we're not a, quote, regulatory tax function, limit solve, states, politics, econ, in other words, reasonability, applies here as well, that framework, weigh the applicant's unique links to the plan, anything else is arbitrary and regresses to debt, clash, and fairness, reject the team for per-con, creates bad advocates, and ruins critical education, no link, we're affect neutral, and death is bad, perm to the plan, and reject death impacts, they're good, test 27, 23, study revealed increased self-efficacy, care, promote reflection, understanding, civil language, affecting strength, fear, posture, recognition, strengthening skills, discussing personality, motive, people doing further, the other goals, satisfaction, actually, anxiety, study, data, followed by research, they all fails, 1, data text, the AF data text key, or floating picture, voting for after on 2, the key people will still read death impacts, citizen traits. Perm do both, shields, perm to the counterplan, so way the plan can be done, perm to the counterplan, to the plan, perm to specify, sequencing but not time frame, perm to the after the counterplan over other issues, 1, redistribution, 2, income, 3, tax illustrated, can you send those out, counterplans can be off the text and function key to after, objectivity, incentivized research, only our exact mechanism, solves 1, compliance, 7, 20, certainty is requirement, the certainty, lessens cost, predictability, process system, uncertainty, measures cannot be effective, do not legislation, device, processing produces disputes, taxonomy, system method, limited uncertainty, legal norms, should feature clarity, neutrality, certainty for tax guarantees, correct application, erroneous expression, lead favors into arbitrary equality, and certainly interpret them from each uniformity application of fear, conflicts with the careful procedures of multiple tax fulfill duties and implement measures taxpayers are forced to relate to diverse resources. 2, perception, the perception that the U.S. wants the tax data and provide a basic income is key to build economic consensus. That's Anwar, Finley, and Whiteford. 3, say no. That was the entire second advantage. They are imposing tariffs on any country who even tries to implement a data tax. No net benefit. 1, no spillover. 1-shot use of juries insufficient to model or set precedent. 2, uniqueness. They're used now. 3, incomplete. No terminal impact nor warranted terminal. 4, the AF laws because it's key to democracy. Condoms of voter and dispose laws. 1, policy analysis. No cost option obstructs testing and lowers the bar for research. 2, fairness, spam, and contradiction. Let's give the 2 AC states. Perm do both compliance, shields, and net benefit. Perm to the counterplan, perm to the plan, any combination of the planes rejected to state fiat uniformity, zero deficits, and distorts eliminates, can't solve. 1, debt protection, basic income requires that that's laying state protections will be struck down harder. 17, state creditor laws created issues within field conflict preemption vacancy, federal laws subject to Congress. No for state regulation. 2, tax cannibalization, Backlash. 17, tax cannibalization, taxes, states income and capital gains taxes generate economic policy, states of vulnerable tax abilities and taxable activities relocated to other states. 3, enforcement gaps, Hobbs to 19, even if all 15 separate states satisfy laws to struggle with different enforcement computing uncertainty, borders, even the apply to only edge cost of the secret service regulations with the interstate traffic permits, activities, sovereignty, security, diversity, privacy laws, ECC, and trigger market burdens. 4, overlap their guarantees, preemption, Hobbs to 19, federal laws, sensitive data, privacy level, managed for other conflicts, preemption, laws, subject to legal issues, and new laws, actions, and laws, the MD, sure, the certain comprehensive, if laws fail to provide the regular issues, conflict, state laws, compliance, burdens, create confusion, state laws, federal requirements, supremacy, may render laws preempted, preemption voids the entire counterplan. Ukraine. Won't pass and PC fails to pass it. Lillis 124. The House moving further from approving Ukraine Johnson upgrading policy. Migration depth check to list fingerpointed. That's separating the speaker. Out of election, opposing any agreement touching. House should be limited to the same theoretical war. Has Ukraine feeling that has the rules absolute no good to raise legislation. House Republicans. 1 solution. Agencies of fantasy. The hard right so 1 solution. Democrats. And then turn their prosecution Biden about weekends for Ukraine justice. House of the Magus. Either Ukraine is overwhelmed or political fights spoil the parts of the bill that solves. It's a must pass. And it'll ride the plan. The plan is not pushed by Biden. Post 20. Like Mayor talking about Shabby talking about UBI. Now taking charge. Coalition mayors advocate for federal cash policies by not to refund real. Very special basic income. It's a massive bipartisan victory over 20. Congress agree that Google, Facebook, Swash competition for Congress agree that companies shall be allowed to continue to protect taxes on everything. Be do illegal while people have gained tax giants. House members also collecting data. Basic income is also popular. Whistleblowers wrong. Stevens 21 proposals with wide bipartisan approval. Free money given this server. Doesn't proposals cover Republicans moderate. Doesn't proposals keep it 1 time. It's got to be sustained. Fiat shields and length plan passed without capital. PC's fake Gator 21 pass powers limited. And party and public support are more important because only confirmed members to change as today we're very few limited study except for the institutional influence of these proposals unlike the change of voting tariffs within parties are tools are not useful in tracking a single vote, not intrinsic law logical policymaker could do both. Key to education, winners win. Key 21 demonstrates itself. To the best focus on investigation, will increase your like a muscle. Extra the more you've had, stop finding if you do positive things. More class do even more. No internal issues are compartmentalized. Ukraine's screwed and Russia will escalate further. P10 for Ukraine's war effort, unconditional victory. Ethiopia's should be Ukraine, backwards, small, not counter-offensive, Zelensky treated as an interloper in Europe, Judah, or Slovakia, and any individual stagnation needed will not show the burden moral and resolve originally was likely the source of the Russian economy. Turkey, pulled into the Baltic Russia, steadily not capable of society, turn into a failed state to believe that to recognize Polish transport either for winning or journey you created into compromising subtle political, and subtle impossible unless diplomacy, coercion. Extinction outweighs on scope and irreversible. Anything else is a slippery slope to eugenics. It's non-unique. Taxes are now the act is more ethical. It stops data privacy, which is the greatest breach of freedom, and the greatest breach of freedom. Non-resolutional gateway issues are limitless and unpredictable. Voted for clash of fairness. Go back to case. No AI impact. Hole 21. Threat has been overblown. So all the public plans to read the lovely status is nuclear. The status. Company did not have any never even got close. Argues being stupid off general minds and other alliance. Hole is marked as. I'm sorry.
What was the last name?
Yeah, it's the whole evidence, which is in the doc under the AI term.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm good for calls.
Oh, you just finished the whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to start on the state's counterplan, the first episode about debt protections. What is the impact if the basic income does not have debt protections?
If the basic income does not have debt protection,
Yes.
it's poverty. Our laying evidence that we read in the 1AC says that without debt protections, there will be poverty.
Yeah, so the
That makes
laying
sense.
evidence says that there have been people in the past who, like, or there are people who would need to pay off debt, and like, they're like debtors would take the basic income. Like, what's like the quantification of that? Like, how many people would lose their basic income?
It's a linear impact. Obviously, establishing debt protections is good because people's. I mean, we'll make linear arguments too as to why like one person's basic income being seized means other people will.
How would that affect like immiseration if like
Yeah,
a
people
few
don't think
thousand
that-
people lost their
People
basic
don't
income?
think that there's a credible safety net for automation. They think their basic income can literally be taken away at any point.
Okay, so
which
like
causes them
fear. Okay, let's go to topicality. The Andrews evidence. If the plan text, like of a hypothetical affirmative is like, USFG should increase redistribution by like destroying the military. Is that topical under by?
Is that topical under by?
Yeah, if by inherently
no,
means
because
that
basic
whatever is
income,
after.
Basic income is a topic area.
Why is it just limited to the topic areas? If I
Because
said
it's
like,
specified in the resolution.
because the way that Andrews is explaining what by means is that whatever follows by is inherently
No, because-
fiscal redistribution.
Well, no, because the resolution specifies by providing basic income as the one ways fiscal redistribution can occur.
But according to your evidence, it says that like whatever is after by is inherently like fiscal redistribution, correct? I think it's arbitrary to limit it to just those topic areas
Well,
based on this one.
even if apps could have any sort of funding mechanism that they want, the topic specifies by
Okay.
like.
Let's go to the AI turn, the app solves argument. What about the app limits AI development?
What about the athletics AI development? The Johnson evidence in the 1AC says that big tech corporations are developing AI. There is no constraint on the amount of data they can collect, which causes them to develop AI quickly, which spirals out of hand. The app solves
Sure,
that.
yeah. How does the app solve that?
How does the app solve that? It taxes them on
Okay,
collecting data,
so
which is key to
it's just
AI
a tax
development.
claim, just regulating AI.
Yeah, it slows down the development of AI. Your evidence says that.
Okay. Let's go to the winners win evidence. The Kane evidence is from the senator talking about how PC works. How is it descriptive of like broadly how Biden's PC works?
Yeah, obviously the most accurate way to know how things in the Senate work, how congressional processes work, is from someone who actually votes the
Okay,
congressional
that's fine.
bills.
Tax cannibalization. The Gamage evidence is about income and wealth taxes. The plan is a data tax. How does it apply?
I disagree. It's making a sort of descriptive claim about how
Okay.
state
Yeah, it
taxes
says
work, especially
with-
ones that
with
conflict with federal law.
With respect to state level taxes on quote corporate income and capital gains.
With
What about a data tax causes cannibalization?
well, it says corporate. The article is about income and capital gains, but it's still talking about state level taxes.
It's about income. Okay, 936.
Read it again. Yeah. Yeah, that was like I mean, I think we like said that. Yeah, I mean, I think we said that was. Yeah. I think we talked about going for laying it out, versions just in case. Yeah, yeah, that was essentially it. I mean, we were kind of jonesing for Edge to be, but I don't know why we went for the reason that we went for it. I know we went for it. Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, yeah. In our defense, they disposed the app 10 minutes before that debate. So,
That being said,
yeah,
maybe
we have the rest of
but
it.
if you would had a week there,
Yeah.
see what
I want to see who's going to be the next one.
see this as on point as possible.
Oh,
So
We definitely have to do some.
but a surprise.
No, they didn't catch us by surprise by any means, but it was just like, some of the conversations that we could have had
Yeah, I guess that's true.
were a little bit delayed.
We would not have raised that question.
No.
Well, I expected that's how we
No. Yeah, now you're taking the lesson, so feel free. Yeah, see if we learned our lesson. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was just the idea that we had to be able. No, they. Yeah. And we were like, wow, these things still survive in the activity. It's because of the people who would, be most offended. Oh well. That's what it is. Yeah, right.
But you have to like impact out the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Have somebody addressed it like shit. They will no test that they said this. So
Yeah. More involved in the two market.
it's all
Yeah. Yeah, it's all there. They wanted to say things. They chose to say things. But, oh, it is what it is. Maybe we weren't. Maybe we haven't. Who knows?
It's just not the debate you've been used to having.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't probably been debating people who are willing to take you up on everything you say and say
Pretty
it's good.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're like
Yeah.
spending the time on the link.
Yeah.
Like pulling lines from the app that are just like you could have just read the tag of the card or just asked them if they were list.
Yeah. Yeah. They would have said
explaining
yes.
why it impacts out, why it's external impact, why it also implicates the internal impact.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just hunting for one instead of getting it. It is what it is.
It wasn't the link, it was external
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And I think you could have gone for it as like a job guarantee part.
yeah. Right, evidence.
Instead, maybe some of it is bad, but they're not because the job office is not, because
Yeah.
they have to pay the defense of the job guarantee part.
Right.
For your one.
Almost like we're gonna impact
Same.
the they did.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you would made it specific about that part, they would have done that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So if you want like pay,
Yeah, you
then that would
then
be
impact or yeah, makes sense.
It's
It's obviously nothing about the job guarantee.
Order is advantage 1, coercion, I guess, juries, states, death. Advantage 2, advantage 3.
Okay.
So you said it's advantage 1 and then coercion of juries and then states death. Wait, is it states death or death states?
States.
States death and then death states. How are we doing?
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Next.
The perms I just said after. Like,
Yeah, no, I just got that those are on states, right?
Yeah, those were on, interstate, interstates.
Yeah.
Everybody good? Turnout ways artificial intelligence creates unavoidable suffering rates that outweigh extinction. Aligning AI with human values makes it worse because humans are hateful, warlike, and cruel. Every human society includes hatred of outgroups and the desire to punish those deemed undesirable. With AGI, those harmful impulses are locked in and technologically maximized, means that it answers irreversibility on the coercion it said. AGI radicalizes the human ability to cause pain, locking in infinite torture until the sun burns out. It's worse than extinction because it's never ending. That's sour. They've conceded functionally that suffering rates outweigh. That was a card versus their analytic argument on coercion. No new one-error arguments. Any risk of the turn outweighs even 100% of case because magnitude is infinite, means no other case impact can outweigh the turn, but S-risks happen in a world where humanity innovates to align AGI with its values. Unaligned AI might turn us all into paperclips, but it won't use mind cloning to cause infinite torture unless racist and authoritarians bend it to its own will. Also, impact turns innovation scenario and offense can only go our way for AGI impacts other than suffering risk. The status quo causes a global ban, which solves impacts like emerging tech weaponization and AGI 100%, both dropped in the 2EC. There's only a risk that rogue AI developers or accidents in the world of the plan cause those impacts because voting neg solves them absolutely. It also turns case 1, a global ban solves every impact better. Harmful data collection practices are impossible in a world where AI research is shut down through total moral stigmatization. And at the top, they've dropped the taxing data, locks in every bad data practice they've read impacts to because companies will happily pay the tax and keep collecting data. Even with the tax, it's still massively profitable, but this possession of tech companies paying their fair share gives moral legitimacy to every bad practice in the status quo. That's a rescue too. We'll go through their impacts. A, data monopoly. The data monopolies. Their evidence says AI is key. We're yellow. Insert that for reference. B, sustainability. AI's fiscal resource demands are inherently unsustainable and outweigh it as a tool for other applications. Holger 23, massive. AI, massive resources, energy that give rise to issues
issues, sustainability, perspective, electricity, falls short, capability on a role of AI and SG treat AI as a tool, failing to acknowledge material costs cannot only be developed strategies, sustainable farming, and challenge sustainability, planetary dynamics, research, very limited view, sustainability, AI application, enable produce increase output, and retain same carbon footprint any possible environment, engagement, and analytic growth of AI using tools, planetary boundaries across. C, cybersecurity is dependent on data monopolization, which requires AI as per the rehiding of Lubin above. D, disinformation, the root cause of governmental use of AI. The plan can only tax private sector AI, which means only a ban solves it. Ryan Mosey 23. Governments around the world with democracy authoritarians using AI to manipulate opinion, and most important is to do changes in the way governments use AI. AI is literally the entire very for disinfo. Political actors continue to deploy and apply disinformation. Widespread accessibility of generative AI can undermine trust and facts. This point will allow political actors to cast doubt about reliable info. E, multilat authoritarian AI use creates starter fights over tech and infinite torture, causes tit for tat tariffs over human rights, which is far bigger internal link than data disputes, and it also turns into diversionary stuff because people obviously get more mad about infinite torture than bad domestic economic conditions. The uniqueness push, people fear it now, but it obviates backlash against AI on a global level. 1 and C evidence says that massive unemployment and poverty is key to cause societal backlash, which is sufficient to solve AI. Moral backlash against AI works globally. Dropped means no all causes. The central question for whether AGI emerges is not about technical difficulty, but how many resources are devoted to AGI across the entire global industry in terms of human capital, talent, funding, and regulatory support. Backlash chokes off every single resource needed for AGI research, which stops it in its tracks. That's Miller's conceded. Backlash goes global. It overcomes the AI race dynamic between corporations and states. Miller 23. What if there's an anti-AI backlash? Would ordinary people to slow down AI research arms race? Retain companies and nation states key research required for AGI can be turned off anti-AI backlash is just as strongly contemporary anti-AI backlash could also lead to a decade-long AI ice age. Several reasons backlash is globally effective in shutting down AI. 1, talent. AI researchers will become totally socially outcast and unhireable and undateable. They'll jump ship to industries like cybersecurity, which independently solves that impact. Miller 23. AI research becomes stigmatized procedures to evaporate public views. Somebody's evil. AI research with reputable sex offender, Nazi, mass murder, stigmatization, renders undateable parents with on the kids. Once the backlash renders researchers toxic, radically reduce quantity and quality of talent in AI. People will work instead of cybersecurity, non-AI software. AI uses high features income. They may be shocked when the public turns AI to highly valuable. Most may jump ship to funding. It'll collapse, which is independently the only way to solve any of their big tech impacts. Miller 23. Backlash will lead to funding drying up. ESG would include AI being qualifying taboo investors with social premise and public pressures taking long-term perspective that leads to concern about experts of AI becomes stigmatized existential risk investment. Pro will not deploy the capital in AI. Hedge funds start shorting back as soon as they start tainted AI or where they get acquired. New investors cut the cancer out. 3, legal bans. They'll be coordinated globally and supercharged by public backlash, which overcomes the reasons they fail now. Miller 23. Stigmatization leads to laws. It is difficult to training lesser stigmatization. Difficult to reg moral stigma, whereas backlash were global. It may develop international agreements ban AGI research. Global regulation becomes feasible. Backlash formalizing and strong laws make prohibitively difficult to develop AGI. This doesn't require global panopticon stigmatization. Automatically imposes the panopticon of people who will become monitor friends, colleagues, and everybody else. They become intercompliance reports, developers, authorities, just as they would trackers or terrorists because themselves will not slow down AGI bad actors to evade detection. It's harder to avoid moral stigma. Moral stigmatization should be charged effectiveness in any regs. FBI could switch focus to AGI research treating terrorists. Threat regulators motivated to capitalize on new threats to public perceive fighting against extras. That sounds pretty cool. If the FBI agents or security agents in China moral stigmatization lead quickly and directly to prosecution results, AGI is stopped for supply chains. So class Miller 23. If AI starts to be seen as evil or will not to business with researchers will be cancel culture. All depends on suppliers, services, utilities, and further. Sometimes would propagate on supply chain tailgating your company. Every supplier will withdraw support from AI. Supplying the GPU hardware, cloud, office-based banking recruits. They don't solve. Conceded taxing data locks in harmful data collection practices. Data taxing does not work when it's still profitable. Even taxing 90 cents on every dollar of data provides an incentive to collect it. Businesses would be more than happy to pay and keep going with every impact in the first advantage. 2, its net offense. A tax gives moral legitimacy to mass data collection because companies are paying for the right to do it. That means a ban driven by anti-AI backlash is the only way to solve this rescue. Drop. 3, data tax locks in big tech because it can pay the fee and keep operating while smaller tech firms get pushed out of the market. Backlash 23. Why not use data collection itself? If one comes for data collection, generate impassable externality is great idea. However, tax would be difficult to impose. Collecting would be an administrative nightmare. It's hard to pinpoint even if the transaction is complete. If every costs $5 to collect, platforms and social service fee, institute pay for privacy plan. Mark that card. At privacy. They say innovation good, 1, S-race outweighs, and the only way to foreclose S-race from AI is to ban AGI research. AI upside as by definition can't outweigh the turn, even if there's still 100% risk from them. 2, we turn it. Stigmatizing AI causes every talented researcher to move into other adjacent fields like cybersecurity or mechanical engineering, which means that we solve their innovation scenario better than they do, while they still link to the turn. Yes, AGI, the overwhelming consensus of AI researchers agrees that AGI is likely by 2047. For the largest survey with the most recency, expert audits are better than specific warrants. We'll never be able to discuss every intricacy that makes AGI possible or not with limited time, but experts have spent years reviewing the evidence. Base 24, the largest survey is currently researched 2,778 researchers published in top-tier venues. The chance of machines outperforming humans in every possible test estimated 2% by 2027, 50% by 2047. The latter estimated 13 years earlier than a similar survey. Only one per year. Whole explicitly said that he's changed his mind. AGI is coming, hard to control and deadly for humanity. Whole 23, you cause me to be alarmed about AGI, the threats of humanity. Eric Hole, we are on the point where we are finally making these arguments and come to human beings right now? No, but that changed. One could easily imagine by 2025 you could have things that are more general intelligent, perhaps more intelligent than ever existed. People like that, we don't know how smart they can get. Intelligence is the most dangerous thing in the universe. Is demonstrated empirically, misaligned, uncontrollable, but this is something we have to deal with, like climate change and nuclear weapons. I used to be an AI skeptic, but this deep revolution was real. We learned how to train these networks in ways that are incredibly effective. The black box ways the AIs have trained our tech outstrip our understandings of how to control and understand black boxes. Misalignment defense does not apply. Our scenario is alignment with the values of bad people. Also conceded these causes existential accents. Actual case, we did not drop diversion. Ariely does multi-level regression, says that there's no internal link between inequality and an increase in societal cleavages or diversionary action. Coercion, we didn't read it, but extinction does not outweigh suffering risk. We are morally repulsed by suffering. It's the most foundational of all human moral intuitions, and it's just irreversible because we can't put AI back in the battle once it's in there. No new one-hour arguments. I read this because the 2AC was so bad on the juries. We didn't read it, but kind of we get what we didn't know. 2AC counterplans or kicking planks. One flex. Capable counterplans are key. Fiscal redistribution is nebulous. Requiring multifaceted testing. F sandbag. The best offense still 2AC. First and last speeches. Prep advantages and vague plans. 2 logic. Kind of bad is an unpredictable, non-resolutional rule that denies the negative status quo, which should always remain a logical option. Concede arbitrariness from A-spec means that it outweighs debatability. 3 innovation. Fallback strats encourage new art discerning research. 4 info processing. Hard running C4 2AC efficiency and best answers. Fostering critical thinking. 5 undisclosed new advantages of voters. Strip reasonable prep time and obviate clash. At least justifies condo because they misdisclosed. They read cards that did not send in the disclosure document. Now defense 1 DMU, adding more abscess peaks in value until the strategic liabilities. 2 skew inevitable. T this had to be highlighting framework case. Reject dispo. 1 definitional consensus. There's none. 2 force parents process counterplans world peace planks. 3 they can't solve like 2 C 6 block. 4 research inevitable. If the restriction's best argument, 2 C will always go for it. Answering this that solves. 5 refinement. Condo drives teams find the needle in a haystack when I see the beach generics and the research more straight turn. 6 to dispo between C counterplans debate their offensive and logical force to judge to vote for a world versus status quo. States kick it, concede the permanent sense of competition. They conceded a solvency takeout. The federal government will water down, delay, and sabotage the affirmative through partisan arm twisting. Means no half. This is in attack. No new answers. Good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the turn.
Yeah.
The evidence is about like AI in the abstract being developed, which is bad. None of it says the US is the leader or anything. Why won't other countries just develop AI if we stop?
Why will other countries develop AI against global backlash is the question. We've read evidence that says that unemployment driven by AI is sufficient to cause global backlash. You've read uniqueness.
It's sufficient to cause global backlash.
Yes.
Wait. What? So I guess unemployment will people will get mad at AI in the US and like restrict its development. Why would that mean that people who are being displaced, for example, in other countries will still develop malicious AI?
Well, no. It's a question of whether or not backlash is sufficiently totalizing to encompass all AI research. We've read evidence that says that AI researchers, people in innovation, are located primarily in the United States. You've supported this with cars in the 1AC.
What evidence?
You've also read evidence.
What evidence? What evidence?
You've also, the second point is also important. You've also read evidence that says that poverty is particularly crippling in the United States, and that is what will cause, big societal problems. You've read the Schmidt evidence, you've made uniqueness claims. It says that the United States is particularly vulnerable to massive backlash this time.
Okay, sure. Is one AI system enough to lock in infinite suffering?
It depends on how many people use it, but like,
Depends on how
I
many.
guess yeah. If one Nazi or authoritarian were to get their hands on an AI that could use mind
If one
cloning,
authoritarian
then
were
yes.
able to get their hands on AI, it would cause
Yes,
infinite
but again,
okay.
the thing is, they won't be able to get their hands on it in a world of backlash
Okay, sure.
because they require complex global supply
Why
chains.
would AI cause infinite suffering? What incentive would it have to do that?
Well, it's not that AI inherently has the incentive, it's that AI gets aligned with the values of evil human beings
Why?
who want to torture each
Why?
other. Because humans are the ones who create the AI.
Humans are the ones, so humans code AI to want to torture each other?
Who want to torture humans they don't like, exactly. Like if you were to give Nazis in the 1940s AI, they would certainly use it against people.
Okay, sure. What are those forms of what are those forms of suffering that an AI would be able to
I don't know, you ever seen like Black Mirror? They could like lock them in those little prisons that like last forever.
Okay, sure.
They could burn their feet in like a Matrix type
Okay,
world.
sure.
They could do anything.
Why would AI that's being developed by humans right now not trigger the
Well, AI is not to that level, and we've conceded claims in the 1AC, which means that backlash will halt it in its tracks as of now.
Okay,
AI cannot mind clone and cause infinite torture now. It will be able to later. That's why backlash is due.
Okay, sure. The grace evidence, where does it say that AGI will happen? It just says machines can outperform humans in everything.
In every that's what AGI is. It's like
Well, no, AGI
No.
AGI is a generalized like.
yeah, AGI is general intelligence. If they're able to outperform humans in all tasks of intelligence, that sounds general.
Wait, so can AGI
Also,
fix those?
keep in mind the evidence you read. The guy changed his mind and said AGI. is correct.
Okay, the Dillum and God actually. That's not like 5 seconds.
Wait. Okay.
It's T and then politics.
That was 5 seconds. So 2
Yeah.
57.
Alright.
Top class most financing jobs guarantee basic income or social security expansion through increased personal income tax. That's vast evidence valid because the data tax and regulatory not redistributed. That's the obvious evidence or its outweighs 2 reasons. First is limits any R terms key to prevent a nuclear war, limits exposure from massive financing with any tax under the sunlight tax and carbon data, financial transactions, automation, space stores, or any other activity that has any reason it should be discouraged. Tax reform is an entire previous topic. Multiple times it should not be shoehorned into this one. Chew is ground there radically inflates half-ground by making the entire field of regulatory taxation individual vanish into the skirts. Core objections to redistribution all based on the downside, this the rich like capital flight, decreased growth, etc. Our topic creates balance. Ground with a stable mechanism that negative rates will be prepared for. Competitive equity outweighs the only way we can turn debates are decided by skill rather than by size. We see one is planning surviving. That's nonsense. It means the plan should be understood as saying the U.S. federal government should raise income taxes, i.e., increase fiscal distribution by establishing a data tax. Those two taxes have nothing to do with one another. Reading the plan produces word salad. Its word of vagueness does nothing. It justifies voting neg on presumption at best. Spending in a vacuum just begs the question of whether the thing they've called fiscal redistribution actually is fiscal redistribution. The only thing we have F on that question. They cannot meet our determination plan. Obviously, is not including increasing progressive personal income tax. It is simple and objective. Income tax are directed from your paycheck because before it hits your bank account, you are a direct function of how much money you take. The plan does not affect the income itself. It asks yourself a simple question: is the rate of the plan's tax increase alongside income? No, and that means it is not redistributed due to 14. That is unrestricted tax that is payable a flat rate by everybody and it can be regressive. The poor spend a larger share of income on bad choice. Mary evidence is not claim once that a data tax is a form of income tax or is a direct tax. Data tax specifically violates the whole point. Is not to tax income. Area 22. Comments raise revenue by taxing income, and this article was said data will be the tax basis offered for article departure from theory income taxation is obviously different taxation and data where data doesn't work from the tax whatever monetary valid data may have. Now the counter interpretation it links to all of our offense first is limits and green lights for distributing anything that falls under the term resources. That's a huge topic. Teams will all be able to spend random taxes or even seize resources like foreign assets or lands. Each of those allows for huge unpredictable advantages to his ground crossed by the work I did on the overview. This in term solves none of our ground because there's the buy card. One, the plan is not written that way. It says the basic income tax that increases FR by providing a basic income tax. 2, if they win their interim, and it limits the topic entirely. The way they've explained the Andrews card as a buy implies that anything after the word is inherently fiscal redistribution. 3C 1 is predictability. 1 were more predictable. Vast evidence is clear intent to define. It is defining in the broad redistributive context. There is only in the context of regional science that's inserted or terms that consist of view of inequality studies by TC 16. Every discussion in income distribution inequality distinguished market by 4 tax law terms the disposal of income after tax, including transfer to taxation, redistribution, and this usual breakouts of tax reference to this. Every inequality and transition from market to disposal. 2 limits started 2 and a half seems we cannot prepare them all. 3 quantifiable difference and limits outweighs an unquantifiable difference of predictability. 4 debatability turns it and community norms coalesce around debatable in terms because they know debatably matters. 2 afghan is ridiculous. 1 this would get to core of the topic after GBI funded through deficit spending or income tax as well as social security expenses funded by payroll taxes. Core advantages that are more predictable because most lists speaks to the topic balance outweighs. A is game theory. They speak first and last pick the topic out of private more forced to be reactionary. What they say. B is empirics for arms sales is good. CGR was bad. States picks and need distats are not unbeatable. They are enough deficit states to make the fruitful debates true by the 2C picks are beaten by linkage keywords and why taxing income is key to solving inequality for dissats. Just cut better cards. 2C 3 we do not mix burdens or term specifically requires transfers funded by income taxes or deficit spending did not just decreasing inequality mixing burdens is also inevitable under their interpretation. 2C 4 data education might be good on a data topic but not on a redistribution topic. Now functional limits still not solved. Yes, your regulatory tax that was above those functional limits are beaten by indirect regulatory taxes. Tax states lose to specific deficits turned in the 2AC politics lose to link terms about that tax being popular, which also happened in this debate economists have also go for. And then if the one is seen with the tax advantage for solving growth cap, in other words, not too diddly squat reasonability. 1 is not reasonable. The difference in your interpretations is ginormous. That was all above. 2 T is substance. T just about semantic differences of the fiscal redistribution literature context and precision or impacts. 3 crowd is inevitable inter force combination debates as the team's race to the cheaties combination more divorced from resolutional substance. Back to Weaving. Fiscal redistribution entails direct taxes targeted at the rich fund transfers targeted at the poor less than 15. Fiscal redistribution value rate to redistribute effort and extent to which transfer targeted to the poor, direct taxes targeted to the rich. Direct taxes are individual income taxes are and social insurance contribution. Everything else is the tax collected from firms, which includes things like sales value added and excise tax, Porter versus 86. Direct taxes are defined as taxes on individuals' income taxes and employee contribution from social sources. Direct taxes are collected firms include sales and value added tax on employer contribution and various excise tax. Don't choose politics. Kick the data concedes Russia will not escalate zaps. Any opposite law concedes the plan is popular from their data tax evidence. It proves that data tax and other random taxes will delete any politics. This also states concede that the states cannot do a data tax means that the negative can just spam random taxes to defeat any negative ground if we cannot have the states count up, but we can't check back against any of these zaps, which obviates any of the claims that they not solve. We do not solve any of our offense. Yeah.
723. Yeah, it is. The cards were already sent. Is everyone good for a moment? The data monopolization. Well, yeah, no. Multi-lab. Innovation. T, income taxes. And then the AI.
Actually, citizen jury is kind of
Oh, wait. Citizenship.
before the inequality. So
Okay, so
Multi-lab.
after T, juries,
juries, then
then
inequality.
Do you want it again?
So yeah, you can.
Sure. The monopolization finished.
Okay, what?
Multi-lat.
Okay.
Or wait, I'm sorry. No, I'm
That's why I
sorry.
was
I'm sorry. It's
confused.
multi-lat and then innovation. The turn is
Okay.
at the bottom. Yeah.
And it's multi-lat, then innovation.
Then T, income taxes, and then the turn.
and juries.
Well, yeah, juries.
And juries.
Okay.
Okay. So got it. Alright. Yeah, I think I was just confused.
So sorry, that was totally
I was
my
just looking
bad.
for
I
the
got
la-
like the
I was looking for those pages. Okay.
Is everyone good?
Yeah.
I think I have an error already up. Yeah, I'm ready.
Try or die. Protectionism causes World War III, breaks down multilateralism, creates hostile bloc between great powers, whose escalate nuclear weapons. That's the oppenheimer evidence will be impacted. More on the AI term, but also going for the Canada impacts. Secessionism causes extinction. It splinters the world into hostile fascist regions. Powers will escalate in hotspots and NATO platforms. Nuclear weapons, the mass evidence. They have no defense to this, which means even if they have turns case, it still means this try or die for the innovation impact. Stop taxation, big tech monopolies, and cause existential tech to spiral out of hand. The public control ensures safeguards that shield humanity from a convergence of a crisis. That's the Callahan evidence. Go to T. We meet or counterplan data tax is the only possible means of redistribution. The world is increasingly globalized with general tax havens and corporate dispersion, rendering traditional income tax is totally ineffective. Wealthy firms generate revenue through intaxable assets, i.e. what the plan progressively taxes as merit, not as taxing data through progressively dividend definitionally means as merit 22. Data dividend taxes will increase tax version races will require some ratio of income seems like income taxes to progressive income tax as merit 22. The richest taxpayer Google, Amazon, Facebook such pay low tax rates and tax they focus on data users that avoid income tax. The tax increases when data users and counterplan FR means redistributing resources generated by the economy. Thus, the Topicality weapons is best for Afghan, limiting to just income taxes makes only one app workable. Though progressive tax UBIF, JG, and SS instantly lose to PICs. There's no linkage key warrant, no evidence. So the income tax is key to anything. The generics become overpowered. The income taxes are massively unpopular and impossible to administer and have no Fed keywords. After the same inequality advantage every round, I'd love that, but Cyrus would probably quit. The conceded debatability outweighs predictability means that the card index totally don't matter. Now the limits offense. There's no limits offense. One pick solved that. It was above advantages solely based on tax with loose picks out of the topic 2 lit checks. No one advocates for anything other than carbon and data to find any area 3 depth of regret. The key to info processing research for or encrypt solves. It still requires redistributing, which avoids its regulatory tweaks, the ground stuff, there's no ground loss. Every link to JJUBRSS still applies regardless of funding to Afghan outweighed. The topic's tidy with massive dissets and no deficits, and they get the block. Right now, prefer reasonability. Vote F if we're good enough. Offense, defense, crowds out, substance of the rate, and race to the bottom. Case list isn't offense. Potential abuses, arbitrary and circular semantics are not substantive. Legal engagement and judgment are inevitable, but T makes them worse. Competition debates are inevitable. The first argument is about game theory. No, it's a neg bias topic. Everyone knows that. There's tons of dissets on the topic. Proves that there's no ground loss. The picks and stuff. The picks are definitely not beatable. I mean, the picks are not beatable. Teams are forced to go for competition, and they do right now because the deficits or total loss or teams will just read different arguments about the data education. No, yes, it's not about. Our arguments are not about data education. This is not. Also, there was an argument about the warrant. No functional limits. Definitely do not check. They're all bad in the world of income taxes as per the overview. Citizen jurors. Not going for content, but new apps are good. Key to incentivize app innovation, critical thinking, and prevent coach crowd out. Future disclosure solves offense. There's no link to misdisclosure and default to reasonability. The first bit. Democracy prevents taxation, autocratic takeover, causes miscalculated aggression, and forces countries to turn inward to big cooperation over existential threats. That's Belfius turns the AI scenario. Autocratic countries will lock in AI that spirals out of hand now, but reject the whole index. The warrants in it still apply, even if Hull himself has changed his mind. One, hypothetical AI threats are completely exaggerated by hacks with no field expertise, no data. 2, constraints, emulation of human thinking like growth orientation will be constrained by cause. 3, performance. AI is the only superior objective is designed to accomplish any attempt at AGI box out by the market. That's a whole. 4, dead end. That's failed. Show 20. If we look at literature, there are no limits. However, discrepancies, driving profits, driving force, belief, expression of new religion with computers, duplicate human, the flame of person activity, the system of supply, the support, distorted some breakthroughs to support the AGI within a few decades has been very little achieved. The goal is the dead end. 5, safeguard is hammer 21. There is consensus that is not existential, that generally is not on horizon. We do not know how many trials is not clear how much progress is needed. AI is ensured by a layer of system that is safeguard, which may not be modified by the machines. Anything would be tested after redundant safety tests, unlikely to be existential. That's now the first stuff at the top of the 2C. There's no infinite suffering. Cross-fly extinction outweighs from corrosion. Even if we win a small risk of defense, you obviously will vote F because the 1AR has only made the 2SC has only made root cause claims, but they have no defense to any of the impacts that we have read on case. Also, the second argument is it was not dropped. We have read all the defense that was about, but I'm going to answer all the terms. Okay, so first, the Miller evidence is a total non-starter from it's about AI. The Miller evidence is a non-starter. It's only about AI. It's not about AI being a risk, but the first argument versus not moral legitimacy. A data tax is good. We have multiple words about that. They dropped all of the solvency cards in the 1AC that says the data tax is able to contain any sort of surveillance activities because it taxes big companies, which is net better. We give those 200 megabytes are taxed about through $1, which prevents any surveillance. They say sustainability. Well, there's a slew of other pieces of defense. 1, you need people for your automation now, and will view AI with human values. 2, all causes. Every other country will still develop AI. None of their evidence draws the line. Specifically, China and governments will inevitably fail. That's trend 22. Nations AI governments remains fragmented. China signal interest in making AI driven by desire to gain international power. Shifting Chinese thinking began evidence issue. Striving for achievement guided China's aspiration to move to a norm shaper. Globalized considered area pilot Chinese norm. Finally, extinction outweighs. 1, to filter through probability. 2, reversible. 3, it's an S race that causes almost infinite suffering because of heat waves and radioactive pollution.
257.
Order is state advantage one.
This is very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very easy neg ballot when the conceded impact calculus from the 2 and C. Any risk of an S risk categorically outweighs extinction. The aversion against suffering is the most human and fundamental of our moral intuitions. We're morally repulsed by suffering. When we see somebody hurting, it is the most critical one of our moral intuitions that form the basis of our ethical calculus. They conceded that suffering is infinite on artificial intelligence, which means that it literally breaks impact calculus. Any tiny risk times an infinite magnitude makes the impact worth an infinite value of negativity in your head that categorically outweighs even a huge 100% risk of definitionally finite impacts extended in the 1AR. There's no answer to this. Impact calculus in the 2AC was limited just to scope and irreversibility. 1, scope is answered by suffering being worse and infinite, and they conceded that this is irreversible. 2, once AI is out, we can't put the genie back into the bottle. And 2, this is where the speech cuts come in. This is the second speech in a row conceding insolvency takeout. I don't care if you think it's stupid. I clearly said both in the 1 and C and in the 2 and C that agency slow rolling and lack of federal cooperation and agency incompetency along with polarization means that the AF gets watered down and rolled back and neg presumption. The AF literally does not happen, and if it does, then it is minimally effective. I don't care about any 2AR spam. This was clearly flagged and was literally in a 1 and C tag. I chose to extend it in the block and take time to do so because the 2AC messes up. No new 2AR answers. You cannot justify them. Turn. I'll get you one. Already did S risk outweigh extinction stuff. All I have to do is do the line by line here. Multilateralism impact rescinded the 1AR. But the conceded turns case on this question. The human right, the tit for tat escalation comes about more as a result over human rights violations due to AI, to artificial intelligence driven abuse, more than they do over data disputes. Data disputes are a tangential issue in international law, and no country is going to be that pissed off if they're surveilling their people. But they will get pissed off if authoritarians are ruthlessly torturing the outgroups that they don't like. Think of the United States' reaction if China were to unleash unhinged AI onto the Uyghurs, or if the Taliban were to unleash it onto the populations they don't like. It also turns the Canada scenario. Conceded tit-for-tat escalation is the internal link as per 1AC cross-sex, but tit-for-tat escalation is accessed more as a question of human rights and AI abuse, more so than it is data. Any risk we turn the case automatically means we win, especially because of the S risk calculus does above. There are no alt causes. They conceded several warrants why this goes global. First is Miller evidence says that it ends the AI race dynamic between states, which is the root cause of state AI development in the first place. China will not develop it because they feel that other countries aren't going to develop in the first place. China is primarily defensively driven, at least in the AI race, means that they won't do it because they won't feel threatened. Conceded in the 1AR. They also conceded talent. The role of AI developer will become so heavily stigmatized that nobody will ever participate in the job ever again. They'll be viewed just as pedophiles, Nazis, and mass murderers are in society. They will be undateable. They'll be cast out of their families. Nobody would ever want to subject themselves to that type of societal stigma. Means that they will literally leave the industry permanently. Norms expand beyond the borders of countries. Means that China won't just ignore them just so they can make a little bit more geopolitical sense by developing AI. They also conceded legal bans. Miller says that countries follow on international stigma and massive backlash against AI driven by unemployment. Miller evidence is fantastic. It says that legal bans arise as a result of popular discontent, and that people and the government's losing legitimacy over their support of AI will cause them to lose support for the technology in the first place. They also conceded that tariffs happen as a result of artificial intelligence development. Means that other countries will at least respond to those negative incentives and go back on their formerly stated desires to develop the technology. And they conceded supply chains, biggest warrant. Materials literally get cut off to other countries. Doesn't matter if China wants to develop artificial intelligence by itself because they can't. Miller says that the artificial intelligence supply chain is global and requires each individual node to be in place in order for artificial intelligence to be developable in the first place. The supply chains collapse as a result of cancel culture against artificial intelligence and as a result of corporations pulling their funding from the very resource extraction and supply chains that cause those things in the first place. The data taxation actively makes companies' practices worse. It's still profitable. Even if you tax data at a huge rate, it would have to be over 100% in order for that to be net not profitable. They're still going to do it even if you tax it at 90%. They also conceded that businesses will just pass on fees to customers. They'll implement a pay for privacy feature where you can pay to not have your data collected in the first place, obviating the cost they take on from the data tax in the first place. As Babcock evidence drops
In the 1AR, there is no coherent AI defense. First, they conceded the Grace evidence from 2024, which is the largest survey of researchers. They conceded evidence comparison, which is you should prefer researchers over specific warrants that I might not explicitly answer, because researchers have had the time to think about each individual warrant for where AI is not coming and decided on their own that those are not significant enough pieces of defense in order to prevent that from being developed. And two, Hull changed his mind. The Hull evidence is really good, but the updated version is better. It says the artificial intelligence is coming at a quick rate, and that AGI will likely be online by 2025. Means there's also a critical immediacy push that you can vote on here. The Feshland evidence is from 2021, and it's just saying how AI won't happen that quickly, which is obviously disproved by the litany of studies on over 2,000 researchers who said that it will happen very fast. The safeguards only occur if there's public will, which can only happen if we let automation drive employment, because that's how backlash happens to AI in the first place. Okay, 260.
Here last year. So
Yeah, it's here last year.
Probably. It's two.
Huh.
It's two.
Okay. Multi-lat advantage. States counterplan. And then inequality advantage. I'm doing the it was in the extinction outweigh stuff was in the on states in the tomorrow, so I'll just do it there.
Yeah. Also that states then do it in inequality.
Try or die frames this debate. They have no defense to the case, so even if you think the turn is high, you know you're going to die from a collapse of protectionism, and they've conceded multiple warrants for why it turns the AI turn means even if they win that extinction does not outrate and S risk comes first, we have a high risk of an S risk and extinction. Extinction is external, so you should try to prevent it. They did not frame this as spark, i.e. extinction is good for reducing X risk, just that suffering risks are worse than extinction, but that is not a reason. That is not a reason you should not try to prevent extinction and S risk versus S risk alone. Now, protectionism outweighs the cause of extinction. The US, EU, and Canada will all consolidate into hostile trade blocs that removes the greatest and only constraint on military aggression and incentive for alliances. World War II, our Oppenheimer evidence says every great power will be drawn in, like Russia and China, as they with nuclear weapons. He also says it reduces our capacity to respond to, quote, technological challenges, which turns into sad because it encompasses AI. The only scenario for AI naturally going out of hand is not a world of automation, but a world where we cannot cooperate over it because every country is turning inward instead of cooperating over artificial intelligence. Countries like Russia and China will develop AI with dictatorial intent intentions, which means even if they win, S risks are often still outweighed because it is not external. The 2NC was explicit on this, that any instance of AI being developed by an authoritarian is sufficient to trigger their impact. This means that this is broadly inevitable because they've conceded that China and Russia are revisionists and want to develop AI, but that also happens in a world without the affirmative, which means it is try or die states. Extinction must outweigh first. They dropped this in an S risk. It is an S risk. Even if this was dumb, it was conceded. It causes suffering through radioactive heat waves, environmental collapse, and pollution, which is a much worse form of suffering than Black Mirror or whatever side tries to spin. Second, is irreversible. It precludes value to life and liberation from any sort of suffering. They say we're morally repulsed by suffering. We're more morally repulsed by death. Obviously, all animals, including humans, have an innate incentive to avoid death. If they're right, this should boil down to generic calculus that happens in our head. Then we should win. They say it's categorically 100%. They've also conceded that you should filter it through probability. We have a bunch of defensive arguments to the dissent proper, but they have no mitigation to the case. Now, no solvency takeout. First, it is try or die, which makes this irrelevant. Second is durable fiat. Obviously, solves because the plan gets upheld. This was way too light in the 1 hour, and any other interim destroys after because solvency deficits should not become deficits to the app, but this does not take out the case. Even if the data tax is lightly enforced, it is enough to solve our internal links because it's about the perception of a data tax. Even if businesses won't listen, the EU and Canada at least know that the US is implementing a data tax which is sufficient to stop protectionism. Inequality. The AI turn is a non-starter. First, I'll extend all causes like China. They will inevitably develop authoritarian AI. The 1AR evidence says that they have a geopolitical incentive to develop AI because it's ingrained within their foreign policy, and they see it as the only way to advance their revisionist goals. They say they try to extend the Miller evidence. It's wrong. Our 1AR evidence says China will try to overtake other states. They'll capitulate the lack of AI growth. We do not care about the talent or the role of AI developer. Norms do not expand the borders of countries. They've conceded that China will ignore those norms, and they've dropped from the Belfield evidence that China is revisionist and authoritarian, which means it'll expand AI. They say tariffs will happen as a result of AI development. This was not carded. It was totally speculative and word salad. You should not give this to them. Trade also does not rely on supply chains. So AI companies won't just cut off their supply chains because the US is being unethical with its AI, and they will probably cut it off with China because they're actually developing that AI in the status quo. They say data tax makes companies not want to comply. This does not matter. It is about the signal, but they've also dropped the 1AR argument that a data tax would be a massive reciprocal cost in collecting data to $200 per megabyte, which is sufficient to get companies to follow on because of massive cost. They said that businesses will just pass on fees. This is wrong because there's huge cost to collecting any amount of data on consumers. Now, extend AI is impossible. They've dropped its hypothetical. It's completely exaggerated by hacks, which are their quote-unquote experts. They have no field expertise nor data. It is all fear-mongering. This directly answers the Grace evidence because it's not the best card in this debate, even if it's just the latest fear-mongering in the cycle of AI. Second is it's constrained. They've dropped it that emulations of human thinking will be constrained by cost and will not have it happen. AI will not think like humans, which means that even if the humans are evil, AI is not, which means that it will not try to emulate human thinking and cause infinite suffering. Third is that they've dropped that AI is only superior in the objective it's designed to accomplish, and that any attempt at a general intelligence is blocked out by the market, which means that AI will not develop generic consciousness. Now, the only indicted the fail-end evidence was that it won't happen quickly, and the evidence is from 2021. It does not matter. They dropped the belief that AI is able to duplicate quickly is simplified and distorted. They've also dropped that very little AGI has happened within decades. That the goal is a dead end, and AI will not be developed. This was totally dropped. And they've also the safeguard stuff is totally wrong. They've conceded the specific warrants. It says there's no consensus over AI being an existential threat. They've also conceded that AI is constrained by safeguards, which means even if they are right about the terminal impact of AI, they've dropped the hammered evidence that AI will be constrained by quote layers of operating safeguard, layers of operating systems or users which cannot be modified by machines, which means that AI will not become misaligned, which means even if they win this a big impact, that won't happen in the first place.
The 1AR dropped all of the infinite, the 2NR dropped all the infinite sufferings
at the top of the 1AR. Game over. Good debate.